I'll give you the floor first because you have been very consistent, I think probably over a year now, where you have said Josh Rosen is the top quarterback in this draft. You have not budged. You have not moved.
No, I haven't. I believe he's the best pure passer in this draft. I've kind of anointed him the natural because when I look at the tape, I believe he does everything that we have seen high-level NFL quarterbacks do for the last 20 to 25 years. Throws with great touch, timing, anticipation. He has tremendous arm talent. He has a great feel for the game. And you can tell by the way he plays, he has a high football IQ.
Everybody's using this phrase, too, the best pure passer, because it's accurate. It is what he is. He's the best pure passer. Mechanically, you watch him in his drop. He throws from a nice, firm platform. He's got a quick release. The ball pops out of his hand. He throws a nice, tight ball. Now, the issues that arise a little bit when stuff's off schedule. I've been talking about the escapability with him. He does have the ability to maneuver within the pocket some and get away from in tight quarters. But just, I would say probably more even than escapability, I would say creativity. He's just not a creative type of a playmaker at the position. He's an on-schedule, on-time, in-rhythm thrower. The team that fits the best to me is the Jets. I think whoever the Jets take is going to get on the field the fastest of all these teams, and so I think Rosen's ready to go. That's one that makes a lot of sense for me, going there to the Jets. All right, let's go back to the beginning in our conversation with Jason Negro, the head coach at St. John Bosco, who won a national championship with Josh Rosen. I want to go back to the first time that you were aware of Josh and what your first impression was of him as not only a football player but as a kid.
You know, the first time that I saw him, he was an 8th grader, and he was part of our little 7-on-7 off-season program that we had an opportunity to work with young guys that were coming into our program, and he was a super talented kid. I mean, he popped right from the beginning in terms of his skill set and his ability to throw the football, move around the pocket, his presence in terms of his footwork. All those things were just, you know, obviously stood out, and we could tell immediately that he was going to be something special.
Coach, so much has been made about his intelligence, his ability to grasp a playbook. How quickly did he understand the nuances of your playbook when he got to St. John's Bosco?
You know, I thought he picked it up pretty quickly. I mean, one of the things that, you know, Josh is very skilled at is his ability to ask questions and understand, you know, what's going on behind the concepts and the schematics of what we're trying to accomplish offensively. I think that's one of the things that obviously he takes a little bit of, you know, criticism for, is his ability to ask so many questions and wonder why we do things. And I think that is unfortunate because that's one of his strong points, in my opinion. And for a kid at such a young age to come into our program and to ask so many questions, it was kind of refreshing for us because we knew we had a guy that wanted to learn and become the best that he could possibly be.
Buck, it's the best. I love talking to these high school coaches. They just offer tremendous insight. There's nothing rehearsed, there's nothing canned, there's nothing polished, just real talk there with Jason Negro.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's an outstanding coach. He played a key role in developing Josh Rosen. You can see that he was destined for greatness. It has continued to play out as he's going on from St. John's Bosco to have success at UCLA.
Speaking of UCLA, talked to his high school coach. Here's our visit with his college coach, former UCLA head coach Jim Mora. Was there ever a moment on that practice field when he got to UCLA, that kind of one moment you went like, okay, that's the real deal?
Well, there were a lot of those. You know, just about every day he would do something that you really were, you know, kind of amazed at, you know, whether it was a throw or his ability to recognize a defense or make a decision, check out of a play, get you into a play, a question that he would ask, you know, an upper-level question, a question you might expect from a 5-year vet in the NFL, but all of a sudden this this young man was asking you. There were a lot of moments like that, and then there was also moments when you saw that, you know, he was still a freshman. But what you always saw was that he had the ability and the intelligence to become a great player if he so desired.
Hey, Coach Moore had some good things to say there, Buck, about Josh Rosen. I think that relationship has been dissected in the media, but I thought Coach did a nice job of kind of explaining their whole situation. Our next guest also has great insight on Josh Rosen. Here's our chat with Trent Dilfer.
Here's what I learned about Josh. You can't bring any weak sauce any day. You've got to bring your A game. He expects you to bring your A game every single day when you're coaching him. And he's going to push back if he feels like you got lazy. So every day in those offenses, you guys can educate the listeners more on what that looks like. But every Tuesday, every Monday, post-game, you got to give him reasons why things happen on Sunday. And then Tuesday, as you're introducing the game plan to him, you got to give him the why behind everything. You got to systematically break down why you got to this point and why this is the plan you're using to face the next opponent. And then Wednesday morning, the install meetings, there better be real reasons why versus single high man we're working at one side and single high zone we're working another side, why we're changing the protection versus this front, and why we're, IDing this guy as the mic and these fronts with the safety profiles. And he needs to know everything, because that's the way his mind works. That's a good thing, by the way. I think Aaron Rodgers is very similar to that. I think Tom Brady's very similar to that you have to give them everything that you have, because they're giving everything that they have every single day also.
All right, Buck, I could talk to Trent for hours on these quarterbacks. Great insight there on Josh Rosen. How about some teammates of Josh Rosen? How about we get a chance to talk with them and see what they have to say about the Bruins signal caller? Let's start here, our conversation with UCLA wide receiver Jordan Lasley.
He's driven. He was really quiet at first, surprisingly. People think of Josh as this big talkative guy now. He never used to say anything. That was the Josh that was quiet. That was a different Josh, I would say. Now he's everything. He's put it all together. He's been working so hard for all of these years, and he's been number one for a really long time, so it's no surprise to me. Josh is a born leader, I would say. He came in as a true freshman. And, I redshirted my first year. He was playing before I was. So I had the absolute utmost respect for him. He makes everybody else, hold themselves accountable, especially me. Being his receiver in college, I felt like I was even more accountable than he was, because, he wanted me to be there. He wanted me to be right there for him. So, Josh, his presence, like just being in the locker room with him, makes you want to be better, because he's going to bring his absolute best every single day.
Really interesting perspective there from Jordan Lasley, talking about his quarterback, and Josh Rosen doesn't hide his love, that's for sure. All right, that's about it for us here today. In terms of teams, I know we mentioned the Jets a little bit earlier. Any other spots you think would be a great fit for Josh Rosen? I think you've said Denver.
I've said Denver before. I think Denver would be a nice fit, because they have the weapons around them. Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas. You have a couple of quarterbacks in the building, and Gary Kubiak and John Elway. So I think he could really glean a lot of insight from those guys. I think that would be a nice fit for him as well.